Thank you. My name is Linda and I'm a PhD candidate in land use planning. And I would like to say that I really love the idea that you mentioned inequality is a huge threat to democracy. And I really like the works that you do as a governor in Jakarta for the Kampung Aquarium.
Thank you.
I was wondering if you could share a little bit story on that, because I've also supported that program when I was in Jakarta. And I would like to know whether you think we can scale that kind of projects, because it's still, until now, it's still like one of the great cases where the civic engagement, they can fight for like a huge regulations. And I think there's also a story from your side that would be nice to hear.
Yeah, your name, please?
Linda.
And if I may, beside your name, tell me what are you studying? What are you doing here? Linda, what are you doing?
Land use planning.
Oh, land use planning.
Yes.
Okay, that's exactly the issue. Okay.
My name is Dea. I'm a PhD candidate in section economics here.
What economics?
In the economic and environmental history. Yeah, section economics.
Environmental history.
Economic and environmental history.
Okay.
Yeah. My research is about deforestation actually. I'm actually interested by your statement about the threat to democracy is including inequality, and I also want to point out about the inequality within people within the same region, and also inequality across regions. And there is actually like a famous research about post 1998 we have more democracy and also more decentralization across Indonesia, but there is also research that the more jurisdiction also creates like more problems in terms of more illegal loggings, for example. And I actually want to ask you related to democracy, decentralization, and what do you think about how about this, and how actually democratization creates justice for the people, and environment from the point of view of coordination between central government and local district government, and how democracy can create equality across regions.
Good morning, Sir Anis. My name is Givari. I'm a MSc student here, Master of Food Technology.
Master of?
Food Technology.
Food Technology.
Yeah, so I was in your discussion last year in Batu Sangkar. If you remember cities in West Sumatra.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're there. I was there.
Okay.
And I still remember one of the questions, like this guy asked to you, like, what would happen if you didn't get like elected to become as president? And yeah, you answer it as a politician back then. Well, I still vote for you, even though I know you'd lose, but yeah.
Thank you for the vote.
So, yeah, as you can see before, you speak a lot about your achievement during your time or reign as a governor of Jakarta. And people of Jakarta can still reap the benefits, like the Jaklingko, your programs, your Jakarta International Stadium, the Formula E, etc., etc. And we can see that as a governor, you can stood up to the previous power before, which is Joko Widodo, or like you can stood up or like weather the storm when you were still in power. And just to give you some information, or like I think you know already that of all 38 provinces, you only like won 2 provinces in the previous election, which is Aceh, Darussalam, and West Sumatra. Yeah, I mean you even lost in your previous province, which is Jakarta. And yeah, I just want like to, not really a question, but just give your remarks, I guess, or like some kind of thought. We can see like in the United States right now, as like Trump or something, we can see like the other governors can stood up to them, like Newsom or Pritzker or Walz can stood up to Trump. Give you some thought, maybe remarks. I don't know, try election in West Sumatra maybe next year. The next election, or even another try in Jakarta. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
So the question is?
No, not a question, just some remarks here.
All right. Givari, thank you for the vote. So
You're welcome.
you're part of that 40 million people. Yeah, he was talking about maybe running for governorship in West Sumatra or Aceh. It will be demanding. It will be demanding. Perhaps if Givari is as a running mate, let's consider that. But again, thank you, Givari. Anyone else? It's only two.
Yeah, maybe.
Thank you so much, Pak Anies. My name is Ida from West Nusa Tenggara. I'm a PhD student, first year in Oxford University, doing clinical medicine, focusing on vaccination. Oh, sorry, I'm coming here because my husband also studying at
Wageningen
University. Maybe a bit of global context here, because I've seen Indonesia has just left Southeast Asia region this year, moved to Western Pacific in a WHO website. Because I'm just thinking, what is the implication of the global research collaboration and also the funding in the future?
I don't understand you.
Sorry.
Can you
I've
repeat?
seen in the WHO website, Indonesia has just left Southeast Asia region, moved to Western Pacific region. Maybe, this May, this year.
In WHO?
Yeah, in WHO website, I've seen Indonesia move
How?
from Southeast Asia region to Western Pacific region.
In their category?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm thinking, is that part of the learning process or movement? I'm not sure, maybe you have thought on that. What is the implication for a future research for Indonesia, funding as well, and then maybe you could give us advice for students, especially the international student, if we see that issue, especially about the research. Thank you. I'm sorry, maybe it's a bit out of the topic, but I've seen this issue just recently in May. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, Ida, I'm not aware of that, so I cannot give you a comprehensive and satisfying answer, perhaps. But Indonesia is still in Southeast Asia. We're not going anywhere. I mean, we're stuck there. We cannot go anywhere. North of Australia, south of Malaysia, and there's nothing we can do with that. However, when an organization rearrange their cluster, I think it's more of an internal management of WHO that may not have anything much to do with us here in Indonesia. So I really don't have much things to say about their decision. I'm only aware it just now when you mentioned about this issue. But I value highly of multilateral cooperations, and Indonesia definitely benefit a lot, and Indonesia need to continue. And if I also may suggest to Indonesian students studying abroad, when you finish your schooling, look at these multilateral agencies as a place where you can serve, because it will definitely benefit Indonesia as well when we have individuals in the leadership position in multilateral organizations, and we need that. In Asia, we have seen nationals of Indians, Japan, or Singapore, the Philippines, who are pursuing careers on these multinational or multilateral agencies, and we need more of that. So for all of you who are studying abroad, do consider that, beside going home, obviously. But many of you already know the route to go home. If I may suggest, also look at the route to go to these multilateral agencies. Linda and Dea both address the issue of inequality. The issue of Kampung Aquarium. Kampung Aquarium, perhaps give you a little bit of background, is situated in the northern coastal of Jakarta. It is called aquarium because the Dutch in the 30s created an aquarium there. and that's why it's called aquarium. And there is a lab there, and the lab is for ocean studies, fisheries, and all of that. And it has a big aquarium. That's why it's called Kampung Aquarium, because there is no Betawi word for aquarium. So that's a translation, obviously. So it was located in northern coast of Jakarta, and then obviously there was a decision by government of Jakarta to do a land clearing of that area and remove the population from that neighborhood. So that was done before my tenure. So when I started my tenure in 2017, that's about a year after the eviction, we decided to rebuild the kampung and to return the populations back to the kampung. And we do that by, again, collaborative way. So, Linda, our approach is this. Yes, we have authority, we have fiscal power, okay? But we don't pretend to have the knowledge, we don't pretend to have the creativity, and we don't pretend to know the day-to-day life of the people. So the two that we have need to collaborate with the three that we don't have. So we, from the beginning, we government invited relevant parties to get involved. So Kampung Aquarium was rebuilt as a form of collaboration. Government, local communities, with the people of Kampung Aquarium, experts from universities that have best practices of regenerations, neighborhood regenerations across cities in different places, and then activists of urban advocations. So these four groups get together and plan to execute. So when we rebuilt Kampung Aquarium, it was not all done by us. So it was a collaboration. The credit goes to all four parties. Yes, the authority is in our hand. It's my signature that will say yes or no. But the content of what I signed was the result of collaboration. And with that, ownership to this project is also with the people. Even the design of Kampung, and it's called Kampung Susun Aquarium. It's not Rumah Susun Aquarium. How do I say Rumah Susun in bahasa Inggris? That's the beauty of bahasa Indonesia. I cannot translate it. Rumah Susun. Apa? Yeah, vertical houses. That is individual houses. It's Kampung Susun. So what we have is individual. It's a apa namanya? Rumah susun itu jadi bahasa Inggrisnya? I think it needs to be included in the dictionary of bahasa Inggris. Kampung susun. So we are rebuilding kampung, not building individual homes in an apartment complex. So we rebuilt on also the community hubs, the societal network is being rebuilt. Not only simply building individual houses in an apartment complex. So we rebuilt the kampung, not only rebuilt the house. So and kampung is already an English term, right? So rebuild the kampung, and that's what we did. That was the mission. And even if you come to the site today, the sign will say Kampung Susun Aquarium, not Rumah Susun Aquarium. So that was one on the building. Now the second one, which is the breakthrough, first time in Indonesia, that an apartment complex owned by government is run by communities. That was first time. Usually, if it's owned by government, it runs by government, right? So I told them, no, let them run, because let them manage the kampung. It is their kampung. We rebuild it because we did the land clearing. They didn't have house because of us. So we rebuilt the house, we rebuilt the apartment complex, but give them the authority to run the kampung. So we asked everyone in the kampung to form a cooperative, kooperasi, form a cooperative, and then this cooperative is signing contract with government to manage the kampung. So we are contracting not with individuals, dwellers, but we are having a contract with the cooperative, and all families in that kampung has to be member of cooperative. And that was the first time Koperasi runs apartment complex. First time in Indonesia. You can go to Guinness Book of Record actually. Because the first time. Never done it in Indonesia before. And then this cooperative form, and then they run it. And you know what? This complex is much cleaner than the other complex. Those who run by government were not as clean as this one. Were not as well managed as this one. When the community is trusted to manage their neighborhood, they did it much better than this government is doing it. Okay, which is obvious because it's their home. So we then copy this approach to other new apartments complex that we're building. Bukit Duri, which is also a result of land eviction. So we rebuild the kampung and we allow the community. So that approach is now duplicated in various different places. So we're approaching it as an act of collaboration between the public and the government. And there is one thing. When you allow public participation as co-creator, they come up with ideas that we in government often overlook. Give you an example. The Bukit Duri was built during the COVID pandemic. When it was built during COVID pandemic, at that time everyone stays home because of lockdown. And you know, when you live in the small apartments, the husband is there, the wife is there, the children is there, it's so crowded, right? It's so packed because it was not designed for 24 hours living together. It was designed to be an evening together. But daytime, they all were outside. But during COVID, everyone stays. So they come up with a new solution. They said, "Pa, can we raise the ceiling?" So the standard of government for building housing is, I think, the ceiling is 2.8 meters. They come up with proposal, can we make it 4.2 meters? The ceiling. Why? Because we would like to create mezzanine. So that we created space for bedrooms in the mezzanine and then living room in the ground floor for each unit. It's almost double the cost. It's almost double the cost because then you have to raise the ceiling. But you know, we went through the process and then we revised our standard and we allow innovation like that to be adopted. If it was not done in a collaborative way, we may never get that kind of breakthrough. So if you come to the Bukit Duri neighborhood, you will see the ceiling is much higher and it's much more convenient than any other housing project. Okay, I hope I answered your question, Linda. Now, Dea, how democracy can create equality across region? Where is it? Yeah. Across region. It has to start as a policy from the top leadership. So when we have decentralization, it was a necessary. We had no choice. Why we had no choice? Let me give you an illustration. if this is X and Y, this is a political development, this is a political development, this is a democratic development. Many countries in developing areas in Asia, for example, East Asia, they took the route of we would like to achieve both democracy and prosperity. This is a result of a prosperity. The result is democracy. We want to reach here. This is our objective. What are these? Prosperity and democracy. However, rarely is doing it like this, right? Most of the time, and this is happening in South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and many other countries, they're talking about economic development and then later on democratization. So the route often goes like this. Other countries were doing it differently. The route is democracy and then this. This is like India. You have democracy and then you started to move for economic development. Now, in 1998, Indonesia was on this route and then there is a crisis. When there is a crisis, people demanding political development, democratization. It is a must. They will not accept this. And if you do this by central government, then there is no capacity in the central government. What's the solution? Decentralize it. Okay? There is no way central government can pursue both simultaneously. It will fall down. So what happened is, the solution to this demand, there is demand for political development, but also there is demand for economic development simultaneously. The answer was decentralization. So you decentralize it so that it's not only the burden of the hand of the president, but also the governor, but also the mayors, but also the region. Now, that was done in a very quick way. So it's amazing there is a country like that able to reform from authoritarian into democracy, from centralistic into decentralistic. That is something that we should be proud of, that we did it. Now, after that, what needs to be created is a mechanism in which local populations and locally elected leaders can engage on policy issue. That's the other half empty that we need to address. Okay? The half full is we're able to do that, and local election is done. But again, the positive side is we have these local elections, and often good leaders were elected in local election. We have seen many good leaders emerge in the local elections, unknown individuals becoming mayors, becoming head of region. However, public engagement in those areas often very minimum. In order to create inequality, national government can set the agenda. Let me give an example. If the central government stating clearly, I will measure the success of a governor, a mayor, a region on tackling disparity. What happened? Everyone will fix disparity. But if the central government is saying, I'm going to measure you by percentage of disbursement. Percentage of disbursement itu apa? Pencairan anggaran. Then everybody's busy about pencairan anggaran, right? That's why the message from the central government needs to be that, and I'm going to assess every single governor, and it will then translate into this incentive of fiscal and fiscal incentive. If you tackle inequality, we will transfer more. We will give you more. So it creates that mechanisms, and that is absent. That is truly absent. I was a governor, and never the central government call all governors, I'm going to assess you on the issue of poverty. I'm going to assess you on the issue of mother mortality rate, on dropout rates. Never. We were called if we have too much money in the bank. If we put our money in the bank, then we're called by central government. And if we don't spend enough money on local contents means domestically produced items, then we were called. But never on the issue of welfare. And I've been saying that all along. Central government need to set the agenda because the structure was corrected then. And it was a genius breakthrough. Although when we did it, we didn't realize this, okay? This is like what Nelson Mandela said. We know it when it's done. When we look back, wow, we did it. Yes. So, going back to your questions, I think the central government need to set that as a national priority. Same thing with other issues. If it is set as a national priority, it will be fixed. It can be fixed. Givari, thank you. Truly appreciate your thoughtfulness too. And please continue to observe what is happening across the globe too, and be a lesson learned for us in Indonesia. But I'm optimistic that we have been seeing emergence of young generations caring about democracy, willing to act even though we may not be succeeded. Like Givari, when you said, I also voted for you, I thank you for the vote. I appreciate that. But also you can tell your children that I'm not selling my vote. I'm never engaged in any transaction of vote. And that what needs to be restored. That I'm part of those who try to fix this republic. You can vote for other people. It doesn't mean that because you vote me, then you're doing on that endeavor. But I'm saying that we need more young people to be able to say, I am going to be part of the movement to improve the quality of our democracy. And that's what is needed. So, thank you, Givari. Hopefully, I'm heading to Sumatera Barat on Friday. So I'm going back to Sumatera Barat, but I'm not yet running for office there. So I'm staying here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pak Anies.